Excellencies, dear members of the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen, sehr verehrte Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen im Goethe-Institut. Mein Name ist Arpad Sölter. I'm Arpad Sölter. I'm the director of the Goethe-Institute in Sweden, and it's my pleasure, it's my delight to extend a warm welcome to all of you. Tonight we are very fortunate to have a great panel of terrific and magnificent distinguished scholars among us to discuss the role of Islam in Germany, in Sweden, and in Europe. As a matter of fact, this is our second event in a series. Last fall, we invited, together with our Swedish partners, Jahren Attes. Jahren is the first founder of Germany's first liberal mosque in Berlin, a place where men and women, homosexuals, heterosexuals can all pray together. Tonight, we are very honored to have Professor Dr. Katajun Amirpour from the University of Cologne. Great university, a great university. It's my home university. As our VIP guest and keynote speaker. She has published very widely on Islam. She is actually an Iranistin, an expert on Iran. She's published on Islam and gender. She's published a wonderful book which I'm about to finish and which you will then find in the Goethe-Institut library. It's called Rethinking Islam, Jihad, read my lips, Jihad for democracy, freedom, and women's rights. Her books on Iran are wonderful. They make you want to hop on the next flight to Tehran, and I've just enrolled for the next student trip to travel with you as student number 31 on your list. Please take me along. Katajun will give a keynote lecture on Muslims in Germany, challenges and opportunities. Approximately 20 to 30 minutes, however, whatever time you need. And her lecture is to be followed by two brief statements, 7 to 15 minutes each, offering both British and Swedish perspectives from Associate Professor Dr. James Hodkinson, University of Warwick. And by the way, James has a wonderful, very, very important exhibition at your doorstep at the University of Stockholm. It's right in front of the library. I urge you, don't miss it. And Dr. Emin Poljarewicz, I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. Emin is an associate professor of sociology of religion at Uppsala University. He's just hopped off the train, and you have just hopped off the plane. So we are very, very grateful you made it in time and you're with us. And our Master of Ceremonies and our moderator will be Professor Hans-Ingvar Roth, Professor of Human Rights at the Institute of Turkish Studies at Stockholm University. There will be a panel discussion to be followed by a Q&A with you guys, with the auditorium, and you're most cordially invited. And please make your voices heard. No sugarcoating, no beating around the bush. Please be a straight shooter and bring forward the very questions that matter to you. All the burning issues, because if you wake me up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m., what is the Goethe Institute all about? What is its raison d'être? It's a platform for critical discourse. It's a fountain of knowledge if our partners play their part and if the audience plays its part. We can offer channels, and hopefully, and I'm very optimistic, this night will broaden your horizons, our horizons, and we're all part of a learning community. Before I hand over the mic, I would like to share some recent developments. Maybe you have not followed the German newspapers, but our ambassador, the German ambassador, lieber Jürgen, you have read it the way I've followed it. Because facing far-right challenges, new Interior Minister Horst Seehofer recently said, I quote, "Islam does not belong to Germany." I quote again, "Of course, the Muslims living here do belong to Germany. My message is Muslims need to live with us, not next to us or against us," unquote, he said. Well. With this statement, Horst Seehofer, some call him by his nickname Heimathorst, he is also the chairman of the Conservative Christian Social Union, the CSU party, is rejecting an opposite claim made in 2010 by the former head of state Christian Wulff. That's quite remarkable. Now, what does this all mean? Why does he say that? Why do I bring it up? Seehofer is particularly keen to show his party, the CSU, is tackling immigration ahead of Bavaria's upcoming regional election in October. And as we all know, the Alternative für Deutschland was voted into the Bundestag for the very first time ever in 2017 as the third largest party. Against this very backdrop, the CEU is setting out hardline immigration policies. However, and now this is very exciting, or very interesting, and very remarkable, his comments put him on a straight collision course with Angela Merkel herself, with the Chancellor. Because Angela Merkel immediately reiterated her long-held views that Islam was, of course, part of Germany. So she reaffirmed her vision of an inclusive, multi-ethnic Germany. After all, Germany's now 6 million Muslims make roughly 6% of the entire population. However, having said all that, I'm inclined to believe this whole debate is utterly misguided. Why? Aren't the real problems, the real issues, specific cultural practices and important, which are important to be noticed, but which are cultural codes that may change over time? What kind of examples do I have in mind? I looked up a recent empirical study issued by the Bundesministerium für Familie. In that study, I found one example that struck me. Almost 50,000 Muslim women living in Germany today have suffered genital mutilation. I did not know that. Their countries of origin being mainly Eritrea, Somalia, Iraq, Egypt, and Ethiopia. It's interesting to note this cultural practice is a criminal offense under German law, even if carried out abroad, far away. Specific cultural codes and practices have led to a persistent yet widespread fear of Muslim others, such as terrorism in the name of radical Islam, polygamy. Yes, polygamy is a new phenomenon in today's Germany, but not very widespread. Child marriages, honor killings, violence, acid attacks, beatings, sexual harassment, remember Silvesternacht in Cologne, and the persecution of Muslim converts to other religions. Obviously, there are forms of Islam that place religious laws over secular laws, such as the basic law, the Grundgesetz in Germany. And yes, there are radicals out there who hold a very obsessive binary, it's the West versus Islam worldview. And yet, the fact that there are so many liberal observant Muslims living in Germany and elsewhere suggest quite the opposite. Yes, there are people who speak out against false dogma, they speak out against an orthodox reading of the Quran, and they speak out against anti-Western teachings. Maybe the problem is only that they are small in numbers and they are facing hostility from their fellow Muslims. So how do we move on? How do we move on? I believe, and I was asked to share my sentiments with you, we must make two things very, very clear to our fellow citizens who are Muslim. Yes, you guys belong to us. Of course you do. There's no beating around the bush, and there's no question about it. Having said that, being a citizen in a Western, open, liberal democracy society means first and foremost upholding the norms and values, the laws and institutions that make Western countries what they are. At the end of the day, we, Bio-Deutsche, that's a recent term I picked up. Bio-Deutsche, old Germans, they have to learn how to convey crystal clear expectations, yet in a civil but consistent manner. We have to be ready to express the terms of participation in a pluralist open society. Have we done that in the past the way it's needed? Maybe not. Maybe we should no longer follow the route of the past. And the second challenge, I believe, is the question, how do we make integration work? What we really need, I'm inclined to believe, is we need best practices and a copy and paste approach to overcome cultural barriers to inclusion. And such routines would also address Muslim stereotyping through racist material, reductive depictions of Muslim identities, and, of course, xenophobic resentment, such as Islamophobia. So we must talk. We must talk about culture plainly. We must talk about cultural clashes without sweeping dirt under the rug. What we need, I've said it before, is critical discourse. So now we are all very, very much looking forward to what promises to be a very inspiring and mind-blowing evening. Let's all be straight shooters. I've said it before. Let's address the burning issues. A big, big thank you goes to all our speakers. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Now, please join me in welcoming our panelists, first and foremost, Katarzyna Aminpour. Thank you very much.